Koku, Space, by Eihei Dogen, from Shobogenzo, the treasury of the true Dharma Eye. Because this place is where something ineffable exists, it is through the realization of these words that Buddhist patriarchs are caused to be. And because the realization of these words of Buddhist patriarchs passes naturally from rightful successor to rightful successor, the skin, flesh, bones and marrow, realized as a whole body, are hanging in space. This space is beyond such categories as the 20 kinds of space. In general, how could space be limited to only 20 kinds of space? There are 84,000 kinds of space, and there may be countless more besides. Zen Master Shobogenzo of Bushu asked Zen Master Seido Chizo, "Do you understand how to grasp space?" Seido says, "I understand how to grasp it." The Master says, "How do you grasp it?" Seido clutches at space with his hand. The Master says, "You do not understand how to grasp space." Seido says, "How do you grasp it, brother?" The Master grabs Seido's nostrils and pulls them. Groaning with pain, Seido says, "It is very brutal to yank a person's nostrils, but I have directly been able to get free." The Master says, "Directly grabbing hold like this, you should have got it from the beginning." Shakyo's words, "Do you understand how to grasp space?" ask, are you too the thoroughly realized body, as hands and eyes? Seido says, "I understand how to grasp it." Space is one unadulterated mass, which once touched is then tainted. Since being tainted, space has fallen to the ground. Shakyo's words, "How do you grasp it?" mean, even if you call it as it is, you have changed it already. And although it is like this, in changing with it, the thus gone exists. Seido clutches at space with his hand. This is merely understanding of how to ride a tiger's head. It is not yet understanding of how to grab the tiger's tail. Shakyo says, "You do not understand how to grasp space." Not only has Seido failed to understand how to grasp it, he has never realized space, even in a dream. And although he is like this, Shakyo does not want to describe for him that which is profound and eternal. Seido's words, "How do you grasp it, brother?" mean, say a word or half yourself, venerable elder. Do not rely so totally on me. Shakyo grabs Seido's nostrils and pulls them. Now, let us learn in practice that Shakyo has put his body into Seido's nostrils. From the other side, realization is present of the words that nostrils pull in Shakyo. And although it is like this, space is a unity, and it is jostling. Seido groans with pain and says, "It is very brutal to yank a person's nostrils, but I have directly been able to get free." Previously, he has thought about meeting another, but suddenly he has been able to meet himself. At the same time, to taint the self is not permissible. The self must be practiced. Shakyo says, directly grabbing hold like this, you should have got it from the beginning. I do not deny that grabbing hold by the state like this has got it from the beginning. However, because there is neither grasping, in which Shakyo and Shakyo each extend a hand together, nor grasping, in which space and space each extend a hand together, Shakyo is not yet relying upon his own exertion. In general, the universe has no gaps to accommodate space, but this particular story has long been resounding through space like thunder. Since the time of Shakyo and Seido, though the practitioners who have called themselves masters of the 5 sects are many, those who have seen, heard, or fathomed space are few. Before and after Shakyo and Seido, several individuals have aspired to play with space, but few have put their hands on it. Shakyo has attained some grasp of space. Seido does not glimpse space. Daibutsu would like to tell Shakyo the following. Before, when you grabbed Seido's nostrils, if you wanted to grasp space, you should have grabbed the nostrils of yourself, Shakyo, and you should have understood how to grasp the fingertips with the fingertips. Even so, Shakyo does know a bit about the dignified behavior of grasping space. Even a good player at grasping space needs to research the interior and exterior of space, needs to research the deadening and vitalization of space, and needs to know the lightness and weight of space. We should maintain and rely upon the teaching that the effort in pursuit of the truth, the establishment of the mind, the practice and experience, and the assertions and questions of Buddhas and patriarchs are just the grasping of space. My late master, Tendo Nyojo, the eternal Buddha, says, "The whole body like a mouth hanging in space. Clearly, the whole body of space is suspended in space. Archpriest Ryo of Seizan Mountain in Koshu once goes to practice in Baso's order. The Patriarch Baso asks him, "What sutra do you lecture on?" The master replies, "The Heart Sutra." The Patriarch says, "With what do you lecture?" The master says, "I lecture with mind." The Patriarch says, "They say mind is like a leading actor. The will is like a supporting actor. And the 6 kinds of consciousness are the accompanying cast. How are these able to lecture on the sutra?" The master says, "If mind is unable to give the lecture, space is hardly able to give the lecture, is it?" The Patriarch says, "Space itself is indeed able to give the lecture." The master swings his sleeves and retires. The Patriarch calls to him, "Archpriest." The master turns his head. The Patriarch says, "From birth to old age, it is just this." At this, the master gains insight. Eventually, he conceals himself on Seizan Mountain, and nothing more is heard of him. Thus, every Buddhist patriarch is a sutra lecturer, and sutra lecturing is inevitably in space. Without space, it is impossible to lecture on even a single sutra. Whether lectures are delivered on the mind as a sutra, or delivered on the body as a sutra, they are always delivered through the medium of space. Thinking is realized, and not thinking is realized through the medium of space. The development of tutored wisdom and the development of untutored wisdom, the development of innate intelligence and the development of learned intelligence, each is in space. The act of becoming a Buddha and the act of becoming a patriarch likewise must be in space. The 7th patriarch, the Venerable Vasumitra, says, "The mind is the same as the concrete world of space, and it reveals the reality that is coterminous with space. When we are able to experience space, there is no right and nothing wrong." The mutual encounter and mutual realization in the moment of the present between a person facing a wall and the wall facing the person, the mind as fences and walls, and the mind as a withered tree. These are just the concrete world of space. To those who can be saved by this body, Buddhas manifest at once this body and preach for them the Dharma. This is to reveal the reality that is coterminous with space. To those who can be saved by another body. Buddhas manifest at once another body and preach for them the Dharma. This is to reveal the reality which is coterminous with space. Being used by the 12 hours and being in control of the 12 hours are both the time when we are able to experience space. A big stone being big and a small stone being small is no right and nothing wrong. We solely investigate for the present as the right Dharma eye treasury and the fine mind of Nirvana, space like this. Preach to the assembly at Daibutsu-ji Temple in Etsu-u on the 6th day of the 3rd lunar month in the 3rd year of Kangen.